Kiefer Sutherland's mullet alone overacts most of the cast. Let's face it, just a mullet alone.
I am beautiful.
What's your favorite scary movie? Swallow this.
Back again. John Fallon and me, Arrow and the Head Show, talking movies as always. It's good to see you, buddy. Looking healthy.
Am I?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, if you weren't, I would just skip over this part and be like, okay, let's talk about the movie.
Thank you.
That brings us to 1987.
Yes. The Lost Boys.
I always felt this was a very John Fallon movie. I don't know why.
Well, I know because why. It reeks of the 80s. I mean, that's one thing that I will say about the Lost Boys. When I think the Lost Boys, I think the 80s because everything about it is full-fledged 80s, from the music, the fashion, the MTV style shooting, or even the atmosphere, smoke machines, all that shit, the MTV style cutting. I mean, in some instances, it's a bit like a horror movie version of Rocky IV. You know how Rocky IV was just montages, basically, Hearts on fire. Lost Boys has, he drinks the blood and it's Cry Little Sister and superimposed imagery, and it's a music video. Yeah,
I would agree. It's actually one of my points that I love is I love the vibe of this movie. I really do.
Yeah, it's 80s in a bottle, man. And in a way, it's a bit like tonally like Gremlins, a little bit, where Gremlins was like, horror comedy. And The Lost Boys, takes itself very seriously, but then now and again, there's very comedic moments, for example, and they don't always work, in my opinion. So, for example, the Frog Brothers, Corey Feldman and what's his fucking name?
The other dude. I was
looking up the other dude.
But I feel bad, but it's like, dude, at this point, I'm not.
Newlander, not Zoolander.
But why male models?
You serious?
Yeah, Jameson Newlander. Hey, man, you got to show some man respect. He had one role, a great role. He'll always be remembered for that role. We should know his fucking name. Otherwise, why are we here, bro?
I would assume nobody knows his name because it's been how many years?
Horror fans know his fucking name.
No,
man.
Bullshit. I'm calling you on that now. We're gonna put it in the comments, and I'm like, honestly, who knows this guy's name? So I'm not saying good for him, but people go Corey Feldman, the other guy.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but initially, when the script was written, it was pretty much like a parallel to Peter Pan. So in the original draft, and this is when Richard Donner, who has an executive producer credit on it, and of course directed The Goonies, Richard Donner was attached to direct. And in the script, all of the vampires were like, I wrote it down, like 5-6-year-olds. And the Frog Brothers were like 8-year-old chubby Boy Scout dudes. So it was actually a movie like with children, like a Goonies kind of shit, yeah? But then eventually Donner fucked off. He had other projects going, and Joel Schumacher came on board. And that was one of the first things that he did. He's like, yo, let's up the age to quote unquote teenagers, because none of them look like teenagers to me, but except for, Aim and Feldman. But like the group of vampires look like young 20-somethings to me, not teenagers, but they're supposed to be teenagers. Let's up it up. So, it makes it more engaging. You're able to be sexy and all this stuff, which I thought was a really good move.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that would have worked. I mean, it would have been so different, though, that it's almost like being like, okay, it takes the place in the 50s. It's about time travel. I'm like, okay, now it's just a different movie. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling that as much.
Me neither. Me neither. I'm happy that they went the way they went.
I would say, though, I saw Donner was an executive producer, which makes sense because the vibe of this, I mean, obviously he wasn't probably dictating a lot, but there's I could see like a bit of a Goonies kind of feel, because even at its most cheesy, like it nails what it's supposed to do.
Well, it's not a style over substance. It's just a style and substance. I like to think, because style over. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, whoa, easy, asshole. All right, style over substance means that it's all style and there's no meat. But there's a lot of meat in this movie. There's the brother relationship between Michael and Sam. There's the divorced mother dealing with having 2 kids, by themselves and stuff like that. Then you have the whole thing with Michael turning into a vampire, creating like the conflict, and also a lot of funny situations with Sam. I'll always remember that scene when Sam's in the fucking tub, with the bubbles and shit, and he's having a blast. And Michael wants to he's starting to feel the need to feed.
Yeah, what's the kid?
And then Nanook the dog, which was actually named after a dog in Peter Pan. Just to go back to my initial Peter Pan point, which I never really brought home. Initially, it was going to be a parallel to Peter Pan with David, which is Kiefer Sutherland, was Peter. And I think somebody was Wendy. I forgot who it was. So the original script was really going to be a play on Peter Pan because, what's Peter Pan? Somebody that never grows old and never dies. He flies, So, Peter Pan's motherfucking vampire, So that was the initial inspiration. But to go back to your thing, I resent the fact that you say it's style over substance, because I think the film has both.
You kind of took that and ran with it. I wasn't going to go as far as say it's style over substance, but what I am saying is that I do think the movie script would not have been as good if Joel Schumacher did not sign on to this movie. And it's funny because I actually think, because you made some good points, the divorcee, the brother relationship, the weakest technically part in terms of, I think, the script is the vampires. I like it. It's fun. And I think it adds to it. I think the last 20 minutes, but there's a good chunk in this middle that I forgot. I was like, oh, we're not really doing much. Keith Sutherland doesn't do anything.
Well, they're not the leads. Sam and Michael and the mom, who's an Oscar, who actually did that movie after, and I forgot her name. So God forgive me.
Oh no,
for that
her
one.
name is Diane West.
Diane West. That's it. She was actually nominated for not Remains of the Day, but Hannah and Her Sisters, I think. And right after she did that movie, boom, she did Lost Boys. They're the leads. Okay? And the vampires, David, Star. Well, Star has a bit more thing because she's got the love thing with Michael. But David and the other vampires, they're peripheral characters. They're side characters. So if they would take so much space, they would lose the mystery. They would lose the appeal. And then they would be a very fucking... It's not like Near Dark. See, Near Dark, the leads are the vampires.
Okay.
It's Bill Paxton, the lead. Jenny Wright's the lead. Jeanette Goldstein's the lead. Lil fucking...
They could have done more with Kiefer the time they had him. Kiefer's could have been fleshed out at a better... They could have lost 3 of the vampires and just focused on one. I just think that middle section just feels a little stretched out because it's just him slowly realizing he's a vampire. I'm like, I get it.
Well, that's the story of the movie, man.
Yeah, the weakest part is that middle part.
Well, yeah, it's a busy movie. This movie, if you but straight up, dude, because it's not just Michael and the mom.
No, the Frog Brothers are the whole.
Then you got the Frog Brothers as well, and the vampires, and the mom's relationship with the head vampire. What's his fucking name? Max. That's it. So there's a lot going on in this movie, and I think for the amount of stuff going on, it does a really good job at juggling everything. And
again, not a big negative.
Schumacher actually said that in an interview. He said, "I had the best cast in the fucking world," and I totally agree. He's got one hell of a cast in this movie, dude.
Yes.
That Max dude aside, everybody else is gangbusters. Even Alex Winter, Bill and Ted is right there. Marco, yeah. Not saying anything for the most part of the film. Not like he has one line, maybe.
Yeah, he'll always be Bill to me. So
yeah. So no, fantastic cast. Let's talk about the music for a moment.
A very of its time. But tell me about the music you love, man. I mean,
I love that. I love that song. It's an iconic song. Anybody that knows anything about 80s music loves that song. It's a fucking Lost Boys song, man. I used to have the cassette of the soundtrack. I would listen to that song over and over.
I still believe the Lost Boys song. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, Cry Little Sister is a Lost Boys song.
Fucking people make mistakes left and right, huh?
And then my second favorite one was Lost in the Shadows. When they're on the motorcycles. Sailing through the night, lost in the shadow. So I love the music. I love the score. it just reinforces the 80s vibe of the whole thing, along like we've said previously, with the fashion and the visual style and everything like that.
Yeah, fast as can be. I mean, I love how much everything moves. The camera is always moving, floating, and it's just I always think, man, to block this movie must have been a pain in the ass, because pulling focus on 4 separate movements and doing this, but it gives it a vibe, man. Because it's not gory at all. Like, there's a couple scenes very briefly. I wish it went farther, but I kind of get why it didn't, because the movie it is.
Although it was rated R.
Yeah, because of I'm assuming the fires, what's it called? The bonfire scene. Because I saw some
when
scalping and stuff. Like, that was fun. I was like, oh, I wish there was more, but whatever.
I agree.
It's it gets a little cooler when people are melting at murder at the end. But overall, I do think just the style of it, it makes it its own. I mean, and I've always been a big Schumacher defender, because I think his early run is very solid.
He did some great shit, dude. When I was a kid, and and I was young when I saw Lost Boys, and in Sam's bedroom, Sam is Corey Haim. Yeah, Corey Haim. He has this like sexy poster of Rob Lowe, like in the back of his door, either closet door or the front door. I don't remember.
It's just like,
but when I was it's like one of those like sexy things.
Pull
and when I was a kid, I'm like, why does he have a picture of a sexy dude? Like, I didn't get it. I was young. Like, that's weird. Why does he have a picture of Rob Lowe looking hot ass?
Joel Schumacher.
Now I understand why.
Which one of the best things, I looked it up. It said Joel Schumacher is said to have slept with 10 to 20,000 men. I'm like, good for you, Schumacher. Fucking knocking him dead.
Man, a man's got to relax, bro.
Man's got to relax, right?
And did he ever?
Papa was a rolling stone.
To turn it all around, I love noticing new things, and Schumacher has an eye. And boy, man, like I said, the moving shots. I love the perspective of the vampires. At the very end, they're trying to lock the gate and like they're coming in, just like stuff like that, man. I dig it. Or even the cool pull in to when Haim is in the bathtub and Michael's getting all hungry in the dog. It's just here's setups, man. This is a gorgeous movie, and it brings me joy that it exists for being such a fun poppy 80s movie.
The way it's cut, the way it goes back and forth in between Michael kind of like jonesing. And Sam doing his thing, then it pops into like close-ups and shit like that. The way it's cut, it builds suspense. In the last act, like just the fight between Michael and David, they're flying, that's beautifully done. Obviously they're on wires, it's all practical. It's guys on wires fucking fighting each other. It's beautifully done. Before we get into negatives, Near Dark or Lost Boys?
Oh, Near Dark. I love Lost Boys, but I put it as like it was like the peak of 80s vampires, but I actually put it like below a lot in terms of it's not Lost. Near Dark is better. I like Fright Night better personally.
Yeah, I think so too.
This is like the pop one. This is, like I said, very poppy, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's very refreshing. This is something like, if people are like, I'm not into horror, but you're gonna find the Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Sit down. This is that movie.
No, same thing. I think Near Dark definitely. Funnily enough, they came out, as the same year, and Lost Boys was a box office smash, and Near Dark, which is not a really fair battle, quote unquote.
No,
because Near Dark didn't have the distribution budget.
I just feel like if this was what was so big at the time, I think Near Dark was actually ahead of its time. I think Near Dark would have done far better in like '92, honestly. I think like poppy fun vampires was at the time. Like you said, this is MTV. People were into that. I just don't know if Near Dark would have, even with a bigger distribution. I always feel it's too cool, too dark, and too sort of like deconstructive for a mainstream audience at the time. I could be wrong though.
Near Dark has gained a cult audience.
Yeah,
people have discovered the movie. It's
Yeah,
come around. Lost Boys had it out the gate upon its initial release.
I never lost.
But Near Dark, became a cult classic. That's the definition of a cult classic, is a movie that was ignored, but then, over time, gains an audience. So usually a movie that made no money, then over time, people know it. Negatives. Go first. Ladies first.
pretty much what I said earlier. I don't have a lot of big negatives because I think this is a very tight, fun movie. I do think the middle section kind of could have been trimmed. I felt the Michael parts where he's becoming a vampire, I felt they're kind of extended for no, they didn't really, there's not much going on. I felt I would have liked more of the Frog Brothers actually push forward in those moments, but it's just a preference. I can't really knock the film. Again, some of the music is goofy, but it's of its time. I can't knock the film for that. I think the only true negative I have is for an R-rated movie, it could have been gorier. But I also know what happened to Jason Voorhees in the MPA, so part of me is like, maybe it was just 87 was not a great year for gore. So I don't have anything strong. I don't have anything. Well, no, this is it. Well, I should. Okay, I do have one thing. I don't love Kiefer Sutherland. I never have. I never will.
Oh my lord.
He's
What are
fine.
you doing today, man? You're fucking killing me with all your stupid notes.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
What? I'm sorry. Like, he was great in Stand By Me, which he played the same character in here, only not as cool.
He was fucking great as fuck in Lost Boys, bro.
Yeah,
What are
see,
you talking about?
here's the thing, man. I've never found the vampires in this super cool. I think it's fun. It mixes with the movie, but this is where I think we get, we got to lay the
Disconnect.
cards down. It's just, I don't find a bunch of hair metal people fucking cool at all. Even when I was a kid, I was like, it's kind of lame, and I grew up and like, it hasn't hit it, It's just like the punks in the beginning of the movie, I thought like had more spaz. I don't love Kiefer. I never have though. I mean, it's like Jimmy Lee Curtis. Like, I think they've been in great movies. They're never my favorite part. I never found him cool. I like his dad more, dude. I'm a Donald Sutherland kind of guy.
That was a lot. First of all, people that look like hair metal dudes are not cool. Go fuck yourself, because they're way cooler
You're
than
surprised?
than the punks.
Yeah, next time don't bite so hard when I come, okay?
No, not at all.
I mean, you're gonna say shit, I'm gonna comment, bro.
I would put Bad Religion against Greg Graff against fucking Keith Sutherland Night of the Week, man.
2, Kiefer Sutherland's mullet alone overacts most of the cast. Let's face it, just a mullet alone acts above the rest of the cast, and he's cool as fuck. And to address your other point, I didn't need more Frog Brothers. They were just on the cusp of fine, the way that they were in the film. For me personally, in terms of my your personal affinities, you don't like metal, you don't like people that dress like they're headbangers, you don't like 80s pop rock. I don't like stupid characters, and I found the Frog Brothers, they're stupid characters, and if they would have gotten more and more screen time, it would have diluted the rest of the movie and just pissed me off. Their shtick could have easily gotten played out if it would have been doubled down on, I think.
A lot of it comes down to just like age at times in the movie, I'm assuming clearly you were older, so you probably related more to the headbangers, where I was like, I like the kids that are trying to kill people. It was more my vibe. I still prefer the Frog Brothers, but yeah, I can't fight you on that, because it's like, I get it. Corey Feldman puts on like a really weird voice that's not his, so it's like, I guess.
Well, I think. Don't quote me on it, but I think he was inspired by Rambo in Rambo 2.
Survive a war, you gotta become war.
I guess it makes sense. He has the thing. He's like,
He's got the bandana and he took it.
But all right, so what are your negatives then?
Max.
It's interesting. I don't think he's great, but okay. What's your
his big? Well, I have the same negatives as you. I wish the film was gorier. I think Greg Cannon, who did the practical effects, I think did a fantastic job with
Yeah. Oh yeah. They look cool. The vampires look
everything.
cool.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought I wish they would have pushed the gore further. I think it would have really complemented the film better. I didn't mind the middle section with Michael becoming a vampire. I didn't mind that. I like that story personally. But Max, when I don't know if you knew this or you guys indulge if you know this, but when Max is revealed to be the head vampire, initially they had a really like gross and disgusting makeup reveal for the character. So he was scary. He turns around and he looks like a fucking idiot. I can't take this guy serious. This was one of the probably for me, obviously, because I remember it, one of the main parts in the movie where it should not have been comedy. And I don't even know if they were playing it as comedy, but definitely played as comedy. The reveal of Max as a vampire looks like a fucking moron.
Yeah, it's like that goofy face. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, there's other goofy parts, so I guess I didn't take the sped, but I mean, what do you know?
Other than that, no, not really any. I mean, it's too bad Star, kept her top, but yeah, we'll leave it at that. Jamie Gertz.
Sure, but Michael was shirtless all the time, right?
I mean, it was all about. Man. You bet he was, man. Those nips were going high beam. Lost Boys today is iconic. It's an iconic film. It's like, you think Die Hard, it's an iconic film for action. Lost Boys, Nightmare on Elm Street, But it's fascinating that they never really managed to follow it up with something halfway decent. So, there was Lost Boys. And then at a certain point, Schumacher was to do Lost Girls. That didn't work out. Then he had a prequel he developed with my friend Eric Red, a prequel about how all of the vampires became vampires. So like set in the olden days. And Max was actually bitten by Vlad the Impaler, so Dracula. And then he went about finding all these kids and turning them, and it was set like in the when they go underground with the rice and shit, with the maggots.
Yeah. That's a cool little hangout spot.
Yeah. It was set there, with a picture of Jim Morrison in the back. I was like that. But that didn't happen. It tanked. And then they did these two Astastic.
Well, it doesn't exist. Come on.
Sequels. Lost Boys 2, The Tribe, and Lost Boys 3, The Thirst. That's the one they ripped me off. I'll always remember that one for obvious reason. So it's really weird that, a movie that was so big had such impact in terms of pop culture, and nobody could put two and two together and follow it up with something that's respectable. I find it very weird, but then again, it's fucking Hollywood, so.
And maybe for the best, man, because what if it sucked? What if it was one of those, I don't know.
A CW pilot, because they did a CW pilot for the Lost Boys TV show, and they fuck that shit. It didn't fly. So they've been trying. For some reason, they can't nail it. They can't get like 5-6 cool vampires.
Dude,
I mean, how can you? It's like the easiest recipe ever. It's like people that can't nail a Friday. I can't nail a Friday 13 movie. Gore,
I don't think
titties,
it's as easy as
it.
you think. I think this movie is so tied to the time period. Even if you were to do anything else,
then retro it. Fucking Stranger Things. There's one thing Stranger Things has done is show that, one, it's exposed the new generation to the 80s. Two, there's a fucking audience for it. So set it in the fucking 80s, man.
They would have had to do this 5 years ago. I mean, we're almost now at a 90s sort of nostalgic boom. I think the time's passed. And honestly, let's leave it in the past, man. We have a great movie.
All right, man. So look, before we go, let's listen to at least one message that was left on our voicemail. By the way, the number is right here. Ding, ding. You see? Give us a call, message, suggestions, whatnot. And we'll get back to you in the next episode or the one after, all depending when we record.
Hi, guys. This is Lennox, mate. I'm calling you from Slovakia. I am from the UK originally, but the wife's Slovakian, and we're over here on holiday. I just wanted to call you to tell you to keep up the good work. Easily the best show on YouTube. I think we binge watch everything now. And I wouldn't change that, but you take me back to the time when we look forward to a specific show once a week. Absolutely brilliant. We're going through a tough time with my daughter at the moment, and your show really does help. I wanted you to know that. Friday's the big housework day in my house, while the wife and kids are upstairs. Pull on the Bluetooth headphones and pour a drink and do the housework, listening to your show. It makes a boring job a little bit more bearable. I love your chemistry. John lays into Lance very hilariously, by the way, for his opinions. But goddamn, Lance is a stubborn son of a bitch. He sticks to his guns, and I respect him for it, even in the face of heavy artillery from John. I also love how Lance can make a cocktail out of anything. I love how John sounds like the Canadian Mike Danone out of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Now I'm thinking about Phoebe Gates, so we best move on. I'm also happy you took on board my idea for the Cheers theme as the close to your show. It works as a great contrast for your brilliant intro. You both also encouraged me to embrace my receding hairline and shave my head last year. I've embraced it. One less thing to worry about in the morning. Also, Shockergate was hilarious. The more it got brought up, the funnier it got. I can't believe you did a Wes Craven anthology review and Lance failed to watch not one, but two of the movies. Maybe a few suggestions for reviews. I think Night of the Comet, House, Killing Zoe, and going back to the original. I know you don't normally go back to the 70s, but maybe Dirty Harry. I consider it the granddaddy to the action hero icons we got in the 80s. Finally, I know you guys disagree on music, but what do you think about Oasis? Tread very fucking carefully as well. The Gallaghers are a national institution in the UK. Anyway, I've took up enough of your time. Thank you for the show, the reviews, the knowledge, and of course the laughs. See ya.
Mr. Lennox. Mr. Lennox.
My man.
I'd actually finally get to, I guess, meet you. I don't know if that makes any sense. Via voicemail. Well, let me jump in and say I'm quite a bit Czech. So I've always wanted to go to Czech and obviously Slovakia. I mean, we were one country for quite a long time. So I like Eastern Europe. I like Eastern Europe a lot. I know there's a coldness and a toughness out there that I dig. Dude, that's honestly the nicest thing I've ever heard. I think me and John both agree. I hope things are okay, with your family. But that you look forward to us every week means more than I can say.
I agree. Sorry to hear you're going through some tough times. But, it seems that's what life's all about, isn't it? Tough times. You just survive them until the next tough time. And then you survive that. But I got my own shit going on, as you can see. So I'm happy that the show, brings some levity or positivity in your life. It is one of the reasons we do it. Dirty Harry. Yeah. I mean, the first two, Dirty Harry, the first one is fucking masterpiece. And I totally agree. It's kind of what, no Dirty Harry, no Rambo, no Dirty Harry. It started with Clint and Dirty Harry and the second one, which I love as well. After that kind of lost me. But yeah, I'm totally down with covering Dirty Harry at a certain point in time. And Oasis, what's funny about Oasis is I actually like their music. I know a couple of songs and everything. But when you tell me Oasis, the first thing I think about is their fucking attitude. I love their attitude. They didn't give a fuck, man. They're getting in brawls, drinking, being assholes, and I kind of respect that, to be honest. They didn't give a fuck, but I actually like their shit, but I like their attitude more than their shit. So,
well, let me jump in real quick and say, one, I love that you're shaving your head. Best decision I ever made. Saves you so much time in life. Razors cost a bit much, but whatever. I could wake up, be out the door in 2 minutes. So awesome, buddy. I can't support you more. I want to bring this up for the Wes Craven thing. John and I at that time weren't discussing what movies we're talking about, so I didn't know to watch them. So John just kind of surprised me, and I surprised him. If I could do those episodes again, I think we would talk prior, so I could have an argument. But live and learn. I dig House. I love Dirty Harry. I'd love to do all of them now. I'm the kind of guy that I'd like to do, unless it's like 20 movies, I'd like to do the whole series personally. And as far as Oasis, I don't really know anything about them. It's funny. I watched some documentary about, for some reason, Oasis and Blur and how they had like a big, like, I don't know, some sort of competition. And that's where I learned, and I never knew this, because where I'm from, the South Side is always the working class. The North Side is always people with more money. And I think in England, it's flipped. So like the North Side is the working class and the South Side is like the rich people. So it just blew my mind. I don't know anything about them except that I know they punch each other and they're assholes. But the fact that you were so adamant about them being a national treasure, I respect that.
All right, Lancey boy. Have a good one. Guys and dolls, have a good one. Thank you for watching. And again, questions, comments, suggestions, give us a ring, all right?
Welcome to the end screen. Because we have our most popular videos up here, our latest videos over here, our modern reviews up here, and of course, the subscribe button right here, guys. Every little bit counts, and we do appreciate the support.